Hello, beautiful loves. How are you doing? Happy Saturday. I thought I'd sign in just a minute early to make sure all the tech is working. If you can hear me, if you can't hear me, let me know. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Anya Light, and I'm very, very grateful to be here with you today. Today is a spontaneous. Hi, Reggie. Good to see you. Good to feel you. Today is a spontaneous live stream. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this, just kind of random happening today. Normally I like to plan live streams, but today is very interesting. This morning I woke up in a very expanded state of consciousness. I had some lucid dreams last night, and I woke up, and the first hour or two, I was feeling peaceful and open and kind of smushy and warm inside. And then the Kali energy came in very, very strongly. And, I thought to myself, this is perfect. I'd like to share about the Kali energy today with my friends. And so I've been swimming in this Kali energy for the past, what time is it? About 3 or 4 hours now, maybe 5 hours. And I wanted to bring forth some messages from Kali for all of you, beautiful souls. So before I share those messages, I want to just say a couple words about my process of channeling and how that works and how I work with other beings. I don't think I've explained this yet on this YouTube channel, so I'd like to just take a moment and do that shortly. So how I channel is I release my grip on the Anya light personality, and I become more flexible and fluid, and I allow different energies to come through. So part of the channeling experience, and I think I'm going to teach a channeling course in the not too distant future, so stay tuned for that. It'll be an online course for those of you who are interested in hearing more about channeling. So the channeling experience is basically this ultra vulnerable state that you allow yourself to be in. You drop your boundaries, you drop your guard, you drop your way that you think it should go, you drop a large portion of the logical mind, and you allow whatever is there to flow through. Now, of course, there's also protection involved. You call in protective energies, but the basic gist is that you allow yourself to become a really flexible, fluid being who is merging and interacting with other beings. So the Kali energy, for example, today, she is a being. She comes from the Hindu tradition, from the yoga tradition, and she is someone that's been around, a being that's been around for thousands and thousands, countless eons. And the way I see these beings, these energies, is, how, I don't know if you've ever heard this, but have you heard the idea that someone becomes immortal when we repeat their name? So the pharaohs, for example, they had their names carved into the stone of the pyramid so that people would always remember them, and therefore they would be immortal. So this idea, sorry, I have to take my sweater off. I'm getting hot, all this Kali energy. So this idea of immortality, that when we work with beings, non-physical beings, that maybe in the past they were physical and they were alive in a human form or some other form, and maybe now they have passed on to the other realms, or maybe these beings have never been in a physical or 3D material form. They've always been in the ethers. However, either way, when we work with these beings and we say their name and we listen to their messages and bring them forth, what we're doing basically is we are learning from them. And we are also providing them with a sense, with immortality. And they then in return bestow their love, blessings, and gratitude upon us. So that I know that might seem a bit strange. Why would they need us? But we're in a dance. We're in an interaction with these beings. So they get something from the exchange and we get something from the exchange. And why do they want to live forever? Why do they want to become immortal? To bless us. There's no selfish, egoic shred in there. It is really their desire and their utmost purpose is to serve. But they can only do that, they can only serve if they have beings such as us in human form who keep them alive, essentially, who keep their messages alive and going through channels, through transmissions, and various other ways. So I hope that explains a little bit to you about how I work with other beings, other entities. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense. The Kali energy is a newer energy for me. I've been working with different beings for longer periods of time. But this is actually the first time I've brought through messages from Kali. So this will be interesting. The way that I'm feeling her and hearing her is first of all, she's a mother. So Mother's Day is coming here in the United States next Sunday. And we often have this idea of the mother as someone who is nurturing and soft and snuggly and warm and full of bouquets of flowers and sweet drops of honey and everything that's sweet and soft. And while that is absolutely true, there is another side to the mother, to the divine feminine energy that is every bit as valid as the snuggly bouquet of flowers aspect. And that aspect is the fierce protector. What happens when someone comes along and tries to mess with a mother's kids? Well, you know what happens. They get their ass kicked. Because a mother will not let anything happen to her children. I remember when I was a young girl, I was probably 10, maybe 11 years old, walking down the street with my mom. We were taking a stroll in the neighborhood, and these new neighbors had moved in, and they had this dog, and it was kind of a wild dog. It looked like a wolf. It literally looked like a straight up wolf from the forest. And as we were walking down the road, it busted open the fence that it was behind. It literally just threw itself against the fence and the chain broke and the wolf dog started coming towards my mother and I. And I remember my mother put herself in between me and the wolf dog. And she just said, "No!" And she just put out her hand and said no in the most ferocious tone I had ever heard my mother in my life. Like, my mother's pretty kind of soft-spoken person, mild-mannered, but she, like this beast came out of her. She's like, "No!" And that is a good image to keep in mind of the mother energy, the Kali energy that is protective and fiercely interested in making sure that those that she loves and the truth that she holds in her heart is protected. And that fierceness of Kali can manifest as feelings of anger. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So we have many spiritual traditions that talk about don't get angry. Anger is bad. Anger is a sin. Avoid anger. Anger is something that is just the worst, right? We hear this all the time. However, when we're living in duality, meaning physical form, right? We often encounter energies that desire, that provoke action or response. In the Bhagavad Gita, there is this whole line of discussion where there's a warrior, Arjuna, and he says he doesn't want to fight this battle, this war. And Krishna comes in and says, actually, it's your duty. You're a human being. You have this role in life. And it is actually your karmic destiny to fight this battle, but with detachment, knowing that the whole thing is a play, the whole thing is a game. So the Kali energy does not advocate violence for violence sake. However, the Kali energy says sometimes in human evolution, there's certain chapters or certain moments where we are asked to stand up. And we are asked to say our truth and speak our truth and to come forward with a ferocious or fierce response, full of fire. The Kali energy is this fiery, intense energy. And I just want to speak about my own life for a moment and be super vulnerable with you all here for a moment. So in my life, as many of you know, I've talked about this in videos and in my writing in various formats. I had a PTSD, CPTSD, complex PTSD, for a good portion of my life due to childhood abuse and trauma. And one of the things that happened as a result of all that violence that I encountered early in life, all that trauma, is I learned for myself, my coping mechanism was to freeze. So there's fight, flight, or freeze. And mine was freeze or flight. I didn't do the fight thing. In fact, I went so far in the opposite direction. I learned to actually just kind of roll over and play dead most of the time, this was the choice that I made. However, in my chart, I have so much fire. I'm an Aries sun, an Aries moon, and a Leo rising. So I have all this heat, all this fire in my personal astrological chart. And I have learned to, not only from the trauma in my life as a conditioned response, but also society conditions women, females in particular, to not get angry. It's much more socially acceptable for a male to get angry than a woman, than a female energy. And so because of these multiple factors, I have really done a good job for most of my life with repressing anger. to the point of stuffing it down that made me sick, like really sick. So part of my healing journey in these past 10 or so years, has been allowing my anger, getting in touch with my anger, feeling my anger, not shying away from my anger. And it's been very healing for me. This Kali energy, I remember the first time I started interacting with Kali through these chants, these mantras, these bhajans. And I started feeling into this power, this great acknowledgement of the fact that I could stand up for myself. I could stand up and say no if something didn't feel right in my heart. I could stand up with love, but firmness, and also fierceness if necessary. I could allow the energy of fire to flow through my being. I didn't have to block it or deny it or hate it or judge myself. I could simply observe it and let it be there. So, bringing these messages through this morning here, this afternoon, I will admit, I am in this Kali energy at the moment. It feels rather scary and uncomfortable for me. Normally, when I bring through messages here on YouTube or on the Facebook Lives that I do, I'm much usually in a softer energy, much more like a radiant kind of squishy, more of the nurturing variety of the divine feminine. So I feel pretty exposed at the moment. However, I knew that it was really important to come on here and expose myself and talk about this, especially in light of what is going on in today's world. I'm going to do another separate video on this in the coming months. It'll be coming about my views on the supposed virus that is supposedly ruining our planet. But for now, I'm going to say that what a majority of the planet is dealing with right now is a trauma response. We have been systematically pummeled since childhood by oppressive systems of government, oppressive social systems. Since childhood, just one after the other. And many of us have just taken it, us light workers, us healers, us way showers, us truth seekers. We may have known since childhood that there was something deeply wrong, but we mostly followed the rules. We mostly just tried to fit in, followed the guidelines, did the things that we knew in our hearts felt awkward or just downright bad or evil, and we went along with the system. But lately, in the past year, a line got crossed where we started to feel as if there's something off here. The stories that are on the news, something is not adding up here. Something is off here. But most of us, because it's been a long succession of lies, manipulation, control, and force, this is the dominant programming of our world at the moment, we have become very numb. And so many of us have gone into a flight or freeze response. And yet there are those of us, myself, I speak for myself, who have lately gotten in touch with this Kali energy, who have said, you know what? In my being, I know there's a better way for humans to live on this planet. And a line has been crossed. I've been talking a lot with my co-creator, Jules. Jules and I, we create these dance gatherings in our local area, Northwest Ohio. If anybody out there wants to come, just let me know and I'll give you more information. We dance in these super magical spaces, outdoors and indoors, free-form dance. Just let it all just go and just feel and be, and no rules. So Jules and I have been talking a lot about two things. One, no, saying no, like the power of saying no, especially as someone in a female woman body. No. Try it out with me. No. Come on, try it out. Just think of someone that has been pushing you around. It could be the government. It could be the governor. It could be the health department's policies. It could be your parents. It could be your boss. Who's been pushing you around? And then think about how glorious it is in this moment just to say no to them. No. No. If you wanted, you can add the F word. I won't add it now, but you can say F no. So there's this no energy, and that's what the Kali energy brings forth. No. No. And it doesn't have to be with hatred. It doesn't have to be with reciprocated like violence, but it's a setting up of a wall. It's a putting up of a boundary. It is saying, don't you cross this line. I'm valuable. I'm important. Stay back. Like my mom shooing away the dog, or well, not shooing away, but like growling back at the dog. In the Reiki precepts, we talk about just for today, do not anger. And that precept is very, very often misinterpreted as don't feel the emotion of anger. But that is not what I believe the founder of Reiki, Mika Sui, was trying to express. I believe what he was trying to express was, do not allow your anger to come forward as manipulation or as hurting others. You observe that anger and use it wisely. For anger is truly at the core an energy. And this is what Kali wants to share so much today. My dear friends, anger is an energy. It is nothing to be afraid of. Embrace it. Use it as a fuel for action. When in doubt, when self-doubting, use anger. Light it like a lamp unto your path and use it as the best drug that exists. Allow anger to enter underneath you and propel you forwards and upwards into new vistas of love. Stand for love. Stand for truth. No longer let lies stand. You know the truth between truth and lie. You know how it feels in your bones. Do not misinterpret the truth. Do not misinterpret how your body feels. Pay attention to your body. Use anger as the greatest weapon of love there is. My dear friends, we see in the Hindu iconography these images of Kali holding heads, the severed heads. She has all these hands and arms, and she's holding these severed heads of all of her vanquished enemies. And this is symbolic. This is not to say we should run out and kill people. And this is not to say that we should become, a mass murderer or something. This is symbolic. In this world, sometimes we must stand up to evil. And yes, there is such a thing as evil, my friends. I too ran from the concept of evil for many years. I was indoctrinated into a very confused religious system as a child. And then I went in the opposite direction and I disavowed concepts such as evil. And now I have returned full circle into my spiritual mystical path. And I see that there is evil, and evil is only the lack of light. And make no mistake, there are people on this planet right now who are consciously, purposely doing great acts of evil upon humankind. So what will we do? How will we respond? Will we lay down and say, I'm just too tired. I don't have any energy. Do what you like to me. I'll wear the mask. I'll get the needle. I just want life to go back to normal. I'm tired. Or will we say, enough is enough. I am tired of your lies, and I stand for the more beautiful, to quote my beloved Charles Eisenstein, I stand for the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible. That's what the Kali energy truly represents, my friends. She is that spark that says, let's push for more. Come on. We can do it. Let's not sit back any longer. So that, my friends, is what I wanted to share with you today about the Kali energy. Thank you for being with me in this rather vulnerable moment of the Kali energy. And to close, I want to wrap up by simply saying that when you feel her, that righteous anger, that anger that at the core is fueled by love and in knowing that something better is possible for you and your loved ones and this earth. When you feel that anger, allow it to move through you. Allow it to stir things up. And allow it to transform you into so much courage and love. Blessings to you all on this beautiful day. Thanks for joining me. Namaste.